evening. It's April 19th, 15 minutes after 9 p.m. Dutch time. That is probably something like noon, maybe in Pacific, PST. Today, what I want to do is have a look at integrating the entity framework identity into my website. Previous week, we created a prototype in an external project and added it small part in the website already, but it's now using 2 database contexts, and I want to change that into one. And so let's start the show. Messing with my keyboard, my wrist stand is came off. Let's see if I can put it back on again without killing the broadcast here. That's not what it should do. Where's the music? Stop the music. There's the music again. Oh, it's not Friday 13th, is it? It doesn't stick. Darn it. I think that's it on this side. Yeah, that should be it. Good. Are we still in the broadcast? Did I kill that? YouTube is up and running. Yes, that's good. And Twitch is also up and running. What a mess, what a mess. Let's go into the code window there. Happy Tuesday defines on Twitch. How are you today? Is it your happy Tuesday as well? We are recovering from a 2-day Easter over here. In the Netherlands, we always have 2 days for Easter, Sunday and on Monday. Second Easter day, so had a long weekend. And we have an upcoming King's Day next week. Let's have a look. So what I want to do here, I have now 2 database contexts. And I'm not too happy with that. I want to have 1 database context. Where are they? We have an application DB context. And we have another gear DB context. There's not much more in there. And if you compare this to one another, then we have gear DB is inheriting from DB context, and this one have the gear DB context options. Go to definition. No, that's its. That's the class itself. So just a reference to itself. And then we have the base options. So what if we just turn this over into this one? Application DB context, because the DB context itself has in the app settings connection string my SBM. I always wonder how you pronounce this. How it's going today? I don't know. We just started today, and we are going to implement the entity framework identity that we previously created in a separate project. Now integrating it in this project. This should be a secret coming from Azure, but for now that's not relevant. Maya SSBM. Sounds like a big undertaking. Yes, building the project on its own in a separate way was already a challenge, because it's not really documented for the SQLite version. It was for SQL. We started with SQL, and I found some documentation using .NET 3 or something. So, and that was incompatible with .NET 6, so we had to change that as well. But now we want to have one database connection and try to eliminate the second one. So let's see if we can do that. So what if we just take this one away, identity DB, and stick with the default one, with the default one, I should say. I think the US pronunciation is default. Non-poor documentation makes things much harder, I imagine. True. You have to find things on trial and error, or on error. How do you say that? And but that makes it also fun to do, because in the end, if you have something working, that's always nice. Then so let's go to the DB context. We want to eliminate one of them, and we want to keep the identity context. So what if we just take this one and extract this part? Oh, let's copy that. Copy. Put that in here. Now we have to add that as well. The model. Made things more challenging, but fun too, yeah. My boss used to buy the cheapest equipment with no manuals and no documentation. Well, even if you buy equipment with documentation, then usually it's incorrect or not up to date or whatever. And then you have to find out anyway how to do this. So let's kill the databases there. And then we probably... This is no longer needed then. And then we are going to miss the gear DB context in some locations. Because that's used on several places. So that should now be called application DB context. This is the one that we are going to remove or replace, that is. That's the migration. We are going to delete that as well. This is also generated. I think these are all generated from the migrations. scale that as well. Hopefully we can return it from GitHub if it's failing. Then we have this one. DB context should be, what was it? Application DB context. Application DB context. Program that is now 2 of these items in here, but they're basically the same except for the connection. So let's take this one out. And make this default connection again, default connection. That's gone now. These things are all called GearDB context. That should be application DB context. Maybe I should rename it the other way around. There. Let's search for it again. There's another one. Here, DB context. That's the one that we are removing. Build. Let's make a note of deleting the GearDB context file. GearDB context.cs to do. Build succeeded, so it still builds. Now the question is, will it run? Does it blend? If it runs already, then we are, we can finish the stream quickly if we are doing that. There should be an item in there somewhere called it's something with exists. To check if the database exists. And that's triggered from here. And this should see that there's no database. So let's run this and see where we end. F5. F5. I think this is triggering the gear list. Another F5. I F5 my monitor screen. there's the API. And then there's the website. Website is still running, but this is not using the database. The gear list is using the database. F5. And that is working. So the gear list is still working, but now we have to check if the identity is working. By the way, I updated most of my gear, I think, the things I use. Let's see if that also works. I think there's one Dutch one and one English one, so if I click on this one, it should go to the Dutch one. Amazon.nl. That works. And this should be going to the US one. That works as well. Cool, and now we need to check the identity thing. And let's first have a look at the database, because I don't think the identity stuff is in there yet. Tools, SQLite. I think this one should not be there anymore. See data repo, software.com. Can we go to the location? Database information. Let's see if that was just created. This is the new one. This is the old one. So let's try this again. And kill the database again. Well, let's also throw this out. We can always get it back from source control if we need it. Migration should be empty, because we did not use migrations at this time. Let's run this again and see if it creates a database again. F5. This can be way smaller. Oh. F5. Go to the gear list. Well, the gear list is still working. Ooh, what an ugly description there. So that's only for the mouse. So I probably took in the wrong title there. Let's go to the Swagger interface here and see if we can bring in some accounts. Try it out. Let's make that Joe at docus.nl. Test 1, 2, 3, 4 bang. dot bang. Test 1 2 3 4 dot bang. Execute. I think this will fail. See, that's wrong. As there's an error going on there. Because I think the database does not contain the things that we need. Let's have a look. Can we refresh this? It did create an identity again. That's interesting. So why does that create a new database? There's the individual items. Let's check the what was it? The mouse. Yeah, that the name is a little bit off here. That's not what we need. Microsoft Comfort Mouse. Save. Identity, create a separate identity DB. SQLite entity framework. Why is it using Bing? That's not giving the best results, I think. Let's force that in. BJ de Jong. Sounds Dutch. Install. Before we're going to add migrations, we change the name of the database to DBS identity DB, and where's that done? Let's have a search for that. Nothing. Let's have a look at this one here. There are no tables because they haven't been created. Oh, they are in here. So why did it bring this one in? So the tables are in there, but in the other thingy, the other database. So let's have a look at the connection string again once more. Because this one should not exist. Searching with capital I, maybe it's, did I search case sensitive? No. So let's see why the API call failed then, if the tables are in there. So let's have a look at the API. There's the default connection, swashbuckle, add default identity user to the application DB context. Adds a set of common identity services to the application, including default UI token provided, and configures authentication to use identity cookies. Yes, and that's using the model there. That's part of Microsoft Entity ASP.NET Core. That's the key implementation. Swagger. Do we have that twice? No. There, Swagger. YouTube. That's the gear list stuff. Gear list, gear. Map delete. Gear. Create DB if not exists. Go to definition. This will trigger the database to be initialized. using the context. That's this one. And there's a separate thing for that. That's this one. If context gear list any, then it returns. If there are items, then it will return. Otherwise, it will start a new set of items here. And then add that to the context and save the changes. So let's have a look at the gear list database. There you are, 17 items. There's the one with the wrong name. But we will throw that out. Question is, where is this one created? Database size 0. So let's throw the database out again. Stop the application first. Throw the identity, software out. And that's still open here, I think. It's opened by the tools, I think. By SQL. By this one. Let's see if we can throw them out now. No. Come on. Let's throw the connection away. Okay, let's do it the other way then. Let's close all these things that we have open here. Still lock the file. Close Visual Studio then. That's annoying. Yeah, you can load it. Come on. Entity frame, no. MEF. restarting up. Delete. It did delete now. Did I delete too much? I deleted too much, I think. Let's go in here. Undo changes. Yes. Did we get it back? Yes. Yeah, we probably need to fix it again because that's back to the wrong thingy. Go to definition. See, put in back the DB context. That should be application DB context. Okay. There was only one. Now proper. Oh, darn it. Shoot. That killed all my entries in my gear list. Darn it. Can we see the history of that? That was not fun. Darn it. No, I have to do that again then. That's not nice. That's what you get when you don't check it in. But that doesn't matter because we need to fix this again. Close this. Yeah. Like that. Save this again. Now let's see when the file is created, because this one, let's see, quick access. Where's the folder that it's created in? This one. So let's run this and see when it is created. create if not exists. And let's have a look at this one side by side. Hope it doesn't time out. F10, F11. Now it created only software items, yet then it's putting the things in. Say, oh, yeah. Still does not exist yet. So it still does not exist now. So is it created when we do an API call? Try it out. Let's do this. .404. The reason for this, I think, is needing an authorized user to do that. Where's program there? It's gear, all gear. So where is the user created? Program. Oh, it's a controller, I think. That's this one. The accounts controller. That's the register model. That's this one, I think. F9. Let's try it again. Clear. Doesn't go to this one. gear list, that's still working. Except I deleted my items there. Thanks for that. I need to bring that in again. Response. It should go into the accounts page if you ask me. Where is it? Controllers there. Let's have a look what's in the database. SQLite connection. Browse. API. Data. Software thingy there. Test connection. Okay, close. Tables. Let's see, we have a gear list with stuff in there, I think. Yes. Not the amount that I wanted to see there, but then the users. There's nothing in there. So why is that failing? That cannot be found. API accounts. 404 is not found, I think. 404, yes, not found. So why is the API not found? It's called API. Accounts controller. Let's open the other one. This one. Stop this. Why do you want to log in again? Yes, that's me. Let's approve that. Create tables. I think it does create all the tables in the database, if you ask me. Let's have a look at this one. This one. Which one is this? This one, yes. Authentication with client side is the separate project. Seven one 10. And 120. That's called API accounts. Login model, schema, and register model. So let's have a look at this one. Try it out. Execute. See, this did work, but it's also going to the same address, so I'm not sure why it's failing on the other side. This is failing because that's expected, because it's not meeting the password restrictions. So let's close this. And have a look at the components here. That's no different. Pages, programs, use routing, do we have that in place? Use routing. Server here, API, program. I think we don't use the routing in here. Any map controllers is also not in here. Map Razor pages. Not sure if we need that. Let's Google that. Ensure the endpoint routing is set up for razor pages. If you want to add routing for controllers, you would include endpoints. So we do have a controller in place. Map controllers, that's this one. Map fallback to file. Specialist route endpoint. If it's failing, it should go to index.html. Okay. That will run to... There's no index.html, I think, on my server API thingy. So let's remove that again. Let's run this. Yes, something happening here. No, it's not. Oh, yeah. Stop it. It was in a break mode. Let's run it again. And now starting the wrong one. Stupid. This one, now we need to run this one. 5. Breakpoint. Now let's see if it can find this file thingy. Try it out. Execute. Now it's finding it, I think. And it's confirming that it needs a password thing. So let's make that a little bit better then. Joe at docus.nl, like with a strong password, test 1234.bang, test 1234.bang. Let's try this. And it was created now. So let's go into the database, have a look at the database. If we put a query there, top 200, now we have an item there. And we haven't confirmed the, what's it called, the email. That's a separate setting. You can set that as an option. Also, you can put in all these other items on the screen, two-factor authentication and stuff like that. I just need some basic authentication here. So now, if I want to put in some authorization, let's have a look at the page of the admin. We should put in some of the login information in here, just for kicks. So where's the application? This is the demo, and that's the client. And in the client application, there is the shared item main layout. I think it's put in the nav bar, nav menu. Let's find login. Login. There. That's a login display. Clients. That's this one, the login display. Oh, this is already in here. So where do we put the login display there? Login display on the main layout. There's a nav menu. Login display. Yeah, this one is on the sidebar, so but we have a different menu. Let's have a look how this looks. There's a login thingy. And it's failing, it's doing nothing. Let's have a look at the authorized page on the other one. I think that's on the weather forecast controller. This one, weather, no, that's the model. Where's the fetch data thing page? Here, pages. Fetch data. There's an authorize on there. Rebuild and apply changes. Oh. No, we have a build error. It's not adopting this one because this should be in the using ASP.NET Core authorization. That's in the usings. This one, I think. ASP.NET Core authorization. Why is this not adopting it? Yeah. But this one, oh, it's authorization. This one. Is that also in here? Yes. Where? Oh, this is the second line. Okay. Now we can remove this one again. Then on the main layout, I think. No. Well, let's first try and run it. What's happening there? It's trying to do something completely different. I think that has to do with the display. Let's see if I'm in the right project. Yes. This is the authorized thing view. Do we also have that in the navigation here? This is just a menu. This one is different. Contact user identity. It's coming from somewhere here. That's just the CSS. I think I need to set up the complete these items. Because that's not in here, I think. Let's go back to the GitHub site here for my project. This one. There should be a link there, yes. Because we set up the user, but still the client needs to be in there. Login model, client-side Blazor there. First thing we need to install Blazor local storage. Where's the client? New GA packages. Browse. Local storage. Install that. Okay. also need to update the app component to use authorized route view. And then have a look at the app component in here. That's this one. Yeah, this also brings in the user in a cascading parameter. There. Inject navigation manager, cascading. Authentication state, router assembly, app assembly, found context route table, route view, route data. That's the same. Default layout, main layout, not authorized. Which one is which one? Software is software. In case of not authorized, we need to bring in the redirect thing also. Copy. Navigation manager needs to be injected. Not authorized. Authorizing. Authorized route view. Focus on navigate. Route data. Selector H1 found. Not found. Page. Something like that. So that should be the same now. Why is this squiggly? Login redirect is intended to be a component. It's more like it's missing something. Manager URI, that's correct. Five updates. It says 5 up. Oh, because it has a search box in there. Annoying. Google. Let's update Google there. .604, do we have 604 installed? .NET list SDKs 603. Runtime 604, so that should be working. Select all packages, update. Close that. The question is, do we need this in the full file or can we bring that also in the navigation menu? Let's first run it. Let's try if we can log in. Email joe@docus.nl. The password would be test1234.bang. Remember me true. We got a token, so that looks good. Success. Now let's go in here. Register, login. So the register thing is not found, and probably the login either. See, same thing. The admin showing nothing because it's not logged in. Let's go back to the documentation on the website. Where is it? This is the other one. Go back to GitHub. This project and the README there. So we now did, let's see, configure services. That's what we did. Update database. It was what not was done, but created. Configure services. This is what we have in the server. Register model, it's all in there. Client side, this is also where we were. need to update the app so that this was done in the app. The component provides cascading type parameter. This is used by the authorized view component to determine the current user's authentication, but any component can request a parameter and use the procedural logic. For example, authenticate log user authentication state. This is just to check if it's logged in or not. Create a custom authentication state provider. You need to override the get authentication state async method. In this method, we need to determine if the user is authenticated or not. We are also going to add a couple of helper methods. API authentication state provider. And that's probably in the demo, but not in the other one yet. What is it? Annoying music. Let's change that over to something lo-fi. Go crazy by this music. Authentication state provider. And that's their classes. Add folder. We need to stop it. Classes. Basically, you should say that's something like a model, but add class. Copy all of this. We have to put in the usings there. That's much better already. Okay, back to the documentation. That's the provider thingy. A lot going on. The get authentication calls, blah blah blah. Authentication start. If there's a token, we retrieve it. Then the auth service. We have to bring in the auth services. That's these ones. That's the interface. copy services. Add folder. Services. Create interface. Add and then copy the interface. This the model. Yeah. Then we need to add a class, auth service. Class. Then copy all of this in. And some usings. And some models. And some classes. Okay. Let's bring in the service, then the register component. I think we already have that. No, we don't. Add razor component. They register this one. Control A, Control copy. Something like that. Then the login. Scott, there is Scott from Denmark. How are you doing today? I want to say skull, but that's I think very expensive. This is not what I wanted. I wanted a razor components. Why is this failing? Add Blazor page, Blazor component. And that should be called login. I think you should also be able to scaffold all these things. Login, copy. And then we should also have a logout. Oh, this is, by the way, using all code. Is code in here as well? Yes. There. Page logout. Add Blazor component logout. Copy. Save. That should be about it. Then adding login display and updating the main layout. That's login display. We already had that thing. I think that should be shared. Login display, yes. We need to update main layout to add in the login display thing. Registering services. Startup class, but that's not done there. Let's find this. Copy in the demo. That's in here. So we have to bring in the services. Copy. That's in the program. In here. We also have the Azure Active Directory thing in there. I think that's obsolete because we don't use that. And we need to bring in some usings here as well. Like this. Copy. The hosting can go because that's already there, and this one is obsolete. No need to add that, I think. Web classes. That should be it. Okay, let's check. Now, let's try this. F5. We need to do a lot of cleaning, I think. Build errors, that's not what we wanted to see here. Where is it complaining? Page login. Auth service. This one. Why is it not able to find that? That's this one. It is already in there. Clean solution. Rebuild solution. Still complaining about the auth service not found. For pages log in, log out and register. This is not found because we want to using web services, but we need to bring that into the global pages. Test client auth. I think this should not be test client auth. Imports there. Let's bring in the services there. And I think this one should not be there either. Login model. Hi, Scott. Like your icon. Let's bring this also into... Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the full one. X. Something like this. There's this red thingy there. Why is it? Yeah, the solving now. Let's try to build it again. It did build, so that's cool. Let's run this. F5. F5. Always nice, it's just breaking on the breakpoint and you don't see it. Loading. Now we have some sneaky things in there. This is still working. Database gear still working, I hope. Yes. Although I need some more gear there. Login. focus. Not an L, I think that's what I added. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Dot bang. Oops. Whoopsie. Let's have a check. What's it complaining about? Unhandled exception. The input was not contain JS tokens. Expect the. I've seen this before. What was the reason for that again? I think that meant something that it did not return the right version or something. Where's the page? There. Never. Let's fix this as well. Settings. Never want to store passwords in my browser. Come on. Where's it waiting for? Come on. Oh. Close this. Chrome to Edge, yeah. I really like your icons, Scott. Your emoticons, emotions, how do you call that? Craggy W. So what did go wrong there? Something with the token went wrong. Emojis, yes. Hello. Maxi PaBG. Maxi PaBG. PaBG. Maxi PaBG. How are you doing? Something went wrong. How's that? Did you... How did you get the one with your hand to the other side? Just say mixer. Okay. That's confusing. That's interesting how you use my... Oh, channel points. Oh, really? But why is that... There's a difference with the hand on the other side. That's a surprise. I try to find the reason why the token is not returned. I do remember something that I had the same issue. By default, channels have option to modify emotes with channel points. Oh, but then you can flip them? Learning every day. It was complaining here also from this one. Member parse base 64 without padding does not access instance data and can be marked as static. Okay. But is it a static class? It's not a static class. Could I ask a question related to C#? I think you can. Yeah, it's a suggestion to mark it as static, yes, true. Because there's no reference to anything within the class. Why is this all squiggly and maybe null? Yeah, but I have a whole list and I need to refactor all these things because all these things are potential null items, and they probably not, but there could be the Elvis operator in there. But is it solving it now? Yeah. I can overrule the error message. Is it a good question to have a for each and in the body to have switch case with continue in the case bodies? Is it a good practice to have a for each and in the body to... But you mean in Blazor or not? Because in Blazor you have the for each item. Let's see if I have a for each somewhere in Razor. Yeah, but if you have Scott says if I never use switch, if else is in general more effective in most cases. The benefit of using if else is that you can, it doesn't need to process all the comparisons until it exits. That's true. You can be more effective with if-else constructions. But do you mean Mixer using for each in the context of Blazor like this? Or do you use the normal for each? Any case. Not specific to Blazor, so C#. Is it a good practice to have for each and in the body to have switch case with continue in the case bodies? Oh, I see what you're saying. So you have something like for each, and then you are doing a lot of things. There's a switch with case A, and then a lot of these things. Oh. And then if you use, let's say this one will say continue. Continue. This will jump back to there. And usually that's considered to be a bad practice, I think, because it's tending to give spaghetti coding. Because if the code is getting bigger, then it's harder to track where your workflow will end up, because you need to know that if you run into the continue, you're starting the next for each item, and all the things that come after this are skipped. So you really have to be careful in what in using continue somewhere in the middle of other things. So I would not recommend that doing that. That's the same thing as if you have in VBA. You have this on error continue, and then all lines code, line 1, and a lot of other lines there. And if something goes wrong in here, that will mean that it will just skip the error and just continues with the next one. And that's also something that you don't want to do there. Yeah, how would you refactor that? Because what it means, what you're trying to do here is to skip all the things that that are basically in here. Why is it automatically adding a lot of things? A lot of other code. This is something that you want to skip by doing this. Yeah, I think I agree with Scott. As you can, it's better to separate parts of the code and make it more readable. And if this specific condition is going, then you do the other things. This is some sort of an escape option. Yeah, what you mean is, yeah, he's doing it the other way around. So if you run into, let's make this B, and let's C, and then make that D, and make that E. And only in the case D, he would just want to skip the iterations for these things. Usually what I think, if I'm thinking about this, what I usually do is probably do set something like a boolean continue. Yeah, continue is not a great word for that. Meets expectations equals to false, and only if it's if it's case D, then I would set this to is true, and skip the continue, and then when you arrive here, if not meets expectations, probably should turn this around, meets expectations true, and in case of case D it would be false, basically because this one means that you don't want to do your other code here. And now it's from doing this, it's always clear that while you're looping in here, that there's something going on in case D that sets the meet expectations to false, and that allows to skip this part. So it's much more readable than putting a continue in here and jumping from here to here. But this is just one solution, but I think it's already much more readable than continuing in the middle of the switch. Do you agree with that? Yeah, now I ruined all my code here. Let's see if we can fix that again. But my token is still not recovering when I try to log in. So why is that? It had to do with the synchronization. Oh, the synchronization option, I think. It's something with the JSON option that does not working. Let's try to find the JSON here. System text JSON. Register, I think it's failing on this part somewhere. Where is this, all the nullable stuff? As far as that, the imports. Let's see where it went wrong. F5. Build started. And it's breaking again. user here, by the way. Yes. Login. Joe. What's this? Managing personal info, Joe. This is annoying. Why is this not showing? It's not in a breakpoint, is it? Test 1, 2, 3, 4 dot bang. Oh, I forgot to check the break. Well, this is the login, so the submit page. Let's go to, this is also there. Save and fill basic info, no. Save and fill custom info, no. Let's check, let's remove this as well. Password. I don't want. Offer to save, no. And there's also something like payment info. Don't do that. And things, no, that's the addresses, I think. Address. That's part of the basic info. So it should be better now. Let's reload this. Joe at Docus. Test 1, 2, 3, 4 dot bang. And I have to break on submit. That's a login page. Guess something here. Yeah. Show errors is false. Why? The login model. There's my secret password. And we have to get F11 there. Let's make the screens a little bit bigger. F10. Serialize the login model. Yeah, now we have a JSON thingy there. And we are posting this to API login. And then we have to go to API login on the API. There. In here. F9. It should arrive here. Let's see if that's doing that. F10. It did not. Not found. So API login is not found. is that not working? Not found. Is API login? Is that... It's this one. Duplicate the tab. And then API login. Yeah, but it's stuck on a breakpoint now. .405. That's something different. HTTP error 405. Requested access to one of your pages and your web server has recognized the request. However, the server has rejected the HTTPS method it's using. As a result, your web browser can't access the web page, so it's not allowing it. Method not allowed. Okay. Not allowed to log in now. That's related to the API program. I think related to the course item, I think. Let's check that in the other one. Where's the API? Server program. It's this one. Copy. And do we have that in the other side as well? Add controller with views. After the add swagger gen. Do we have that in here? Oh, we already have that here. 5000, 5001. Are we running 5000? I don't think so. Let's try that. 76, 67. Let's try this again. Try it out. Then email us at joe@docus.nl. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. .bang. Oh, why is it coming in there? 5 60 70 67. .67. Let's check that in the API thingy. There. No, but the origin is this one was allowed. Because that is the server itself. But the other one, that's 5001. Why is that not allowed then? Do we have another requirement on the API? The controller login. Did I put a check in there? It was refused. This is doing something different. Not sure why that comes with 405. That's a 404. This one is already 404. That's working. .bang. Submit. That's too much. Typically add course after finishing a project to avoid this. Yes, but the I think .NET changed by if you remove that, by default it's now blocked. It used to be open, but it was turned around in .NET 6. It's what I found a couple of weeks ago. Where is it? And also don't think it's the course thing. Where is it? Programs, program. Because these are all okay. Without course included. I can disable that, but I think that was complaining about that as well. Let's stop this. This was basically what I did before, but I think I also changed that to the allow origin for everything. That's the Swagger thing, then this one. See, now it's failing already on the main page. Let's inspect that. See, it has been blocked by the course policy. And this used to work up to a couple of weeks ago, but I'm using the latest version, preview version, and that stopped working. No, I just disabled that. Let's look at it again. And this is the API. This has no course in it. Of course there's no course in my API. Course. Assume 7067, that's your API, yes. See, these are the only ones. That's disabled. Maybe I need to clean it. This is the test. This is something different. Where is it? There. 5. Yeah, I think it's a change in the application in .NET. Recently, in version 17 something, where they don't allow it anymore. But the interesting thing is, see, that's blocking already. And if I enable that part again, let's close this again. Yeah, but that's not in there anymore. This is the demo, that's not the right one. This one. This is the use course, and the other one is the add course, this one. And you see, if I uncomment this and I bring it back, then you should see that the API for the YouTube service started working again. So the source is coming from, if you're running from HTTPS, it's 5001. And if it's production, then it will, if you go to, why is it twice the same, by the way? Oh, it's without this the Apex naked domain. It's this one here is also working. Let's check if the register is working. Let's run this. It's a break again, yeah. It would be nice if we just jumped to the break instead of showing me this blank page. So now if you look here, now it's started working again. This is the YouTube API and this is the database API for the gear items. So that's two working APIs, but the login API is apparently not allowed. And it's, if I show it on screen, it's localhost 5001 register 5001 login. Oh, it's login. It's not login. It should be API login, I think. Is that true? Oh no, login is the login page. True, yeah. Let's try the register the other way, the other one. Let's make that Jake at docus.nl test 1234.bang test 1234.bang and submit that, and that's also failing. So for some reason the identity APIs are failing. So what am I missing compared to this one? Seven 110 510. That's a source, so that should work. I think I did something with the login controller. That's the same thing. But it doesn't even arrive here, I think. Let's try this one again. Revive. Let's try this one. That's this one, and then we have thingy there. Jane at docus.nl test 1234.bang test 1234.bang submit, and that worked. Now I can go into Jane at docus.nl test 1234.bang. That's working. So this is 17.7.1.1.10. So this is the exact same code, at least if I did not forget anything. Let's stop that again. Here you can see 7.1.1.10, 5.1.1.10. Let's check this in the other application. This one, F5. It should be okay, because otherwise the YouTube API and the database API for the gear should also fail. See, there's 5001 and 5000. 5001 for the HTTPS. That's this one. So this should be good because it's also going into did I miss a service maybe? Identity user. These are all allowed. User routing. Where's the server there? Server. There. Add controllers with views. Create builder, that's not relevant. This is what we have already. Sensitive data logging, that's the same for the gear as well, so that can't be the issue. Application DB context. Did I put the authentication in there? Yes, that's this part. Endpoints API Explorer, Swagger Gen, and course. Same thing as here. Controllers with views, that's not in there. Could that be related? Add eraser pages. We do have add eraser pages in here, I think. No. It's a bit confusing because this is using a mix of the minimal API and the component, the controller-based implementation. So what if we do sneak in this builder build? That's in there. Let's try that. If that's the case, I really need to clean this out for one or the other. That's the downside of starting with a minimal API. You start with a small API, and then in the end you will have the full-blown thing again. So maybe you need to update everything into the controller-based API again. Close this first and rerun it. 5. This will register services for pages. Joe at Docus. Test 1, 2, 3, 4 dot bang. And it is not working. Why is this not working? Oh, this also it's not bringing in the return page, is that it? Oh wait, it's showing the login, but its register is also failing. Test at docus.nl, test 1, 2, 3, 4 dot bang, test 1, 2, 3, 4 dot bang, submit. That's probably also failing if we look at the database here. See, it's still the one. For some reason the API is not allowed to be accessed. It can be accessed by doing this. Bang. Now it's getting in here. But it's not coming from. This did succeed. This posted it to API login. This has something to do. I always have my add controllers, add razor pages at the end of the services. Yeah, but I wonder if it's actually needed to put them in. Add controls, add razor pages. Where are they? Because this is the one that's generated by the template, if I'm correct. Default HTTPS value. Interesting.
Use a WebAssembly debugging. This is the demo. It's development if this is not development, if it's going to error. Is there an error page in there? And there's an error page in here. Okay. But that's only to redirect it. The question is maybe HTTP redirection. But it's already using HTTPS. There. Use course. And then we have the other API. This API is working. Use writing, use authentication. Map controllers. App run. I don't think the fallback is an issue. So it's controller there, but it's not getting access to here. Sign in manager. Because it doesn't even arrive in here. And before that, it should see that's the database creation. I think I need to think about this a little bit. Because it must be something really obvious that I overlook here. Let's try again, because it's coming from the client. Login. And it also entered there. And this one is failing. The alt service. users log in. Let's do the same in here. Old service. Let's take the static off maybe. Which one was complaining about this one? Don't think that will be the reason, but let's make sure. That's at least identical to the other one. Let's see, what do we have here? Authentication provider, HTTP client. I would expect the HTTP client to be injected also. But this is injected by the constructor. That's a difference. Get the authentication state. Mark user authenticated. Logged out. Parse claims. Last attempt, then I'm going to sleep over it, and because it must be something really trivial that I'm overlooking. But it's just too late in the evening for me. It's almost 12. Oh, it's already past 12. So it's getting late as well. Create scope. Now it's breaking again. Yeah. It's already in the authentication thingy there. Oh. Local storage. Oh, that's the authentication process. That's interesting to see. So that apparently actually works. F10. The token is null, so it's not authenticated. That's logical to think. That means that you now need to log in. Jane at docus.nl test 1234.bang. No, that was a typo. Test 1234.bang. Where do we get handle login again? Then we're logging into the login model. That's right. So go F11. And we're now entering. Which one is this? Auth service. Login. F10. It's already failing. What? reload. Let's have a look at that again. It was in here. This one was failing. F9. F5. F5. It's not authenticated, so that's Jane at Docus. Test 1 2 3 4 dot bang. Submit. F5. Going in here. That's the JSON thing. F11. Email. Yeah. Post async. F11. I think I clicked F11. F40. F11. Yes. What's it waiting for? Oh. What happens if we make this true? Oh, wait. That's already set by the result. But I think it just drops off somehow at the result. Input was not contained JSON tokens. Expected the input to start with a valid JSON token. I think it did not return any JSON at all. Yeah, line 40, but that's the exact line in here. Here, that's what we apparently the JSON that was returned is not valid at all. Let's try and put an F9 again there. And I remember the last time I had to set the property name in case insensitive to make it work with the return value. There's the options. Yeah. I can try to find what's in there, if that's helping. String. HTTP response message, the response await. Let's have a look. Why is that stupid thing in the middle of the screen? The response post async, that's this one. Configuration, you collect that from the API service. String content. JSON serializer. This is the part where you do the serialization. Basically the second part. This part. Login model. Let's see. Oh, but this is serialized. What? Yeah, but even in this case, you're serializing and I'm deserializing. But that's yeah, that's the other one. That's basically the one on top. The login as JSON, and that's put in here again. Where is it? That's in there. Yeah. Oh yeah. I see. Let's see what the response is in the step in between. Stopped already. 5. Still keeps that thing around. Is that from one of the other browsers? What is it? Oh, 5. that's for the initial login check for the homepage to see if it needs to log in or not. To show this, otherwise you got a username. Then login. Jane@docus.nl. Test 1. Oh. Test 1, 2, 3. I don't type it right. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang. Submit. F5. Now we get this one. F10. F10. And now let's see. I think there's nothing in there. See, it's empty. Interface system iService provider. Copy line 39. Copy. API login. New string content login as JSON. That should be okay. Because the response here. Maybe that's already failing, is it? Yeah, I would expect it to be correct, but it's not working apparently. Now it must be the receiving part on the API that's failing. It's blocking on the API for some reason, but I'm not sure why. It must be related to the way it's set up. As this one is a minimal API, and I'm mixing the minimal API with the full API. I think that's a collision somewhere. HTTPS redirection use course. I think it's not related to use course. Otherwise the other APIs would not work. It looks like it's something to do with the routing or something. Maybe the routing should be something earlier. That's a database, then authentication, endpoint, swagger, course, add controller with views. I did put that in as well, didn't I? There. And then add razor page. So I think it's some duplicate things in there as well. No, that's true, but this is basically this is a combination of controller based and minimal. So the use routing in my working example, this one is working. That's using the routing Google use routing. Yeah. Yeah, why both minimal and controllers? That's what I explained. I started with oops. My chair is squeaking. I started with a minimal API because yeah, that's it. It's a minimal API. There's not much to do there. And but the demo was not done as a minimal API, but a controller-based API. And but you should be able to mix that. When use minimal, there's no builder services, add controllers and map controllers. But if you want to evolve minimal to a full controller model, you need to add builder, add controllers and map controllers. You can read this document to learn more details. I want to get rid of this one. JSON options. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's something. Maybe that's. But I also see what's the JSON options. Difference between minimal and API and API with controllers. No support for filters. For example, async authentication filter, blah blah blah, filters. But I don't use filters. No support for binding. I also do not do the binding. No built-in support for model. That's also what I don't do. No support for application parts or application model. No build for view rendering support. We recommend the Razor pages for rendering views. No support for JSON patch. The following code uses JSON options. This is using JSON serializer options. What's the difference with the JSON options? Yeah, let's start with removing the routing. That should not be necessary in there. Routing. So what they mention in here, no, in the other one, is you only need add controllers and map controllers. That's this, map controllers. And what was the other one? Add controllers. You need to add controllers and map controllers. And not map Razor pages, I think. Where's the add controllers? Is that on top? Add controllers with views. Is that also something like this. Does it exist? Add razor pages. Save. Is that built? It is building. Excuse me. Your speaker's blowing out. If I don't use the cough button. This is our last attempt, and if this is not working, then I'm going to sleep over it and try it again next time. I have only 8 gig of data remaining. I must go now. Yeah. And I need to go to sleep. Thanks for your assistance. You were very helpful again. And are you watching on your mobile then or something like that? At least thanks for assisting. Jane@docus.nl. And see you maybe next time. Test 1 2 3 4 dot bang. Submit. And it's not working. Good. Yeah, let's wrap this up. It's not working for now. Must be missing something really simple, but I don't know what. I have to get some sleep over it. So let's wrap it up. Let's continue with it next time. I only have 6 hours of sleep left if I fall asleep immediately. Thanks everyone for watching now. It's tricky, I know, but yeah, hopefully we can solve it next time. Thanks everyone, and see you next time. Bye bye.